During WWII, Hitler's ego led to the development of the world's heaviest and most ineffective tank design, known as the Maus that never roared. Want to know more? Hey guys, welcome to our channel Alpha Tanks, where we tell you about military tanks from the most famous World War II battle tanks to the most advanced battle tanks at present. But before we proceed, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click on the bell icon so that you don't miss out on any of our amazing videos in the future. And let's begin. The German High Command envisioned far future military technology as early as 1941, and numerous revolutionary technological concepts were becoming a reality. Most historians believe that if enough of them were produced and deployed, the outcome of World War II would have been altered. Many of these miracle weapons were very practical ideas that gave birth to the foundations of modern military arsenals, such as the world's first assault rifle, intercontinental ballistic missiles, and jet fighters, to name a few. Other strange ideas seem to be nothing more than an extension of their creator's ego. The Panzerkampfwagen VIII Maus is a prime example of the latter. The German Panzer VIII Maus exemplified Hitler's irrational obsession with massive things and superweapons, as well as his indifference or inability to comprehend their relative cost-effectiveness in comparison to other normal weapons capable of accomplishing the same mission at a fraction of the cost, freeing up scarce resources that would have benefited the German war effort. The Maus measured 33 feet long, 12.2 feet wide, and 11.9 feet tall. It was powered by a Mercedes-Benz 500 series diesel engine with 1,200 horsepower. Continue reading to learn more about the world's heaviest fully enclosed armored fighting vehicle. The Panzer VIII Maus was introduced late in World War II and became synonymous with Adolf Hitler's bloated, most likely deranged ego. He demanded a 120-ton unbreakable super heavy tank armed with a high-capacity L-60 or L-72 gun. The Maus was most likely influenced by a trend toward developing heavy tanks that several Allied armor manufacturers were experimenting with during the middle years of World War II. Hitler, of course, had to outdo them. Porsche received the contract for the new 100-ton Panzer, VK 100.01 Porsche Type 205. The brilliant automotive engineer Ferdinand Porsche and Dr. Müller of Krupp were to build the VK 100.01 in response to Adolf Hitler's personal request in May 1942. Ferdinand Porsche was in charge of the Maus's production, while the Krupp Munitions Works was in charge of the hull, turret, and weaponry. Tanks played an important role in nearly all of the major combat zones during World War II, from North Africa to Russia and northern France. They were used as a ram to breach enemy trenches or to provide a safe firing position for infantry support troops. The Maus was built to pierce enemy fortifications like a massive breakthrough tank, while causing little damage to any of its components. This massive tank was designed to be virtually indestructible, essentially a moving bunker. To achieve this, the Maus was to be armored with 200mm hardened steel, making it virtually impenetrable to any Allied tank cannon or infantry firepower on the battlefield. Furthermore, the thick armor extended down in the form of an armored skirt that concealed the tank's treads, preventing them from being attacked and thus immobilized. This contributed significantly to the Maus's massive weight. The Panzer VIII Maus is the world's heaviest fully enclosed armored fighting vehicle, although it is no longer the largest thanks to the Type 5 Heavy. It weighed 180 metric tons, which equates to 376,000 pounds of pure terror. This is roughly 3 times the weight of the M1A2 Abrams main battle tank, which is currently used by the U.S. Army and Marine Corps. It was so heavy that if it ever broke down, it would take 2 Maus to pull it. Hitler originally planned to order 150 Maus tanks, but canceled the order. There were only 2 prototypes made, and only one of those 2 prototypes had a turret. The first prototype V1, Maus 1, was powered by a modified Daimler-Benz MB509, which could not achieve the planned speed of 20 km per hour in ideal conditions, but only 13 km per hour. The V2 was the only fully built Panzer VIII Maus, developed in March 1944 and receiving its engine, an updated MB517 V12 diesel engine, generating 1,200 horsepower a few months later. On January 8, 1942, Porsche technicians began looking for suitable engines for the 100-ton Panzer project, which evolved into the Porsche VK 100.01. As a result, they started their search at the best possible place, Mercedes-Benz in Stuttgart unter Tuchheim. The engine in question would need to be capable of producing at least 800 horsepower, which is more than the combined output of 2 Porsche Type 1011 V10 air-cooled engines, rated at 320 horsepower each. Mercedes-Benz offered two distinct engine configurations to Porsche. The first is a tandem configuration that uses off-the-shelf MB809 and MB819 engines to produce approximately 800 to 810 horsepower total. The second option was an off-the-shelf MB507 engine rated at around 800 to 1,000 horsepower. The Soviets captured Germany's two prototype Panzer VIII Maus tanks when they overran the Kummersdorf proving grounds on April 21, 1945. The Germans surrendered less than 3 weeks later. When it became clear that the advancing Soviets would soon seize the Panzer VIII Maus testing facility, the Germans attempted to destroy both prototypes. The Soviets, on the other hand, were able to combine the two partially damaged prototypes into a single operational tank, which was then sent to Russia. The massive size and weight of the Maus came at a disproportionately high cost, rendering it nearly worthless. Because the tank was too large for most bridges, it had to cross rivers by wading through fords or driving over the river's bottom while breathing through a snorkel. It was also difficult to develop an engine and drivetrain powerful enough to move 200 tons of metal on the ground at any reasonable speed while remaining compact enough to fit within the tank. The top speed achieved during trials on a hard surface was 8 miles per hour. The only surviving example is housed in the Kubinka Tank Museum, which is located just outside of Moscow, Russia. Inside the chassis, there is no longer an engine or much equipment. Both armored vehicles were armed with explosive devices to keep them from falling into enemy hands. The internal explosion severely damaged the tank chassis. The Soviets constructed one tank from the least damaged pieces. Typical of Hitler's vacillations on his many superweapon projects, the development of the Maus was ordered to halt on November 4, 1943, with only one completed for further evaluation. As German ground forces were consistently losing battles due to Allied air superiority, it became clear that a monstrosity like the Maus would be extremely vulnerable to air attack. According to some sources, Hitler's true goal for the Maus was to plug holes in the Atlantic coastal defenses on the Western Front, where its limited range and mobility would not have been as problematic. However, this plan was thwarted by production delays, which pushed any possible delivery date well past D-Day. According to one version of the Maus's demise, the V-2 prototype was destroyed by personnel at the Kummersdorf proving grounds, while other sources claim that the V-2 saw combat while defending the same facility. According to other sources, the two experimental Maus tanks were deployed in the final days of the war, one near the Army Staff Headquarters in Zossen and the other near Kummersdorf. None of these accounts can be verified and appear unlikely given the disassembled Maus remnants discovered by Allied troops. After the war, a nearly finished V-1 turret and third hull were discovered at the Krupp facilities in Essen. One fully assembled example, with the V-2 turret mounted on the V-1 hull, was tested in Russia in 1951 or 1952 and is now housed at the Museum of Armored Forces in Kubinka, near Moscow. And that's it for today, guys. We sincerely hope you enjoyed the video. If so, please click on the like button and share it with your friends and family. If you have any questions or comments, please share them with us in the comments space below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to see even more of our incredible videos. You can also check out our other videos that have been specially selected for you. We'll catch up in the next video.